Hey everybody, so in the last video we talked a little bit about adding event listeners to elements on the page. And so for this video we're going to talk about how we actually can interact with the specific element we clicked on. So I've changed up a little bit. Instead of just a button, we have a few buttons here that we want to actually have something happen. This is going to be kind of pertinent to your homework. So each button's got a 1, 2, 3 on it, and they each have a value attribute tied to them with the actual number value. So again, hint, hint, very pertinent to the homework. And so now you might be thinking, well, let's just grab all the buttons and add an event listener to them for a click, and then do a function. And so now you might be thinking, well, how do I actually get stuff off of the button? Well, when you pass this function to the button, you can actually get information from the click event that happens by passing it the parameter event. And that's just a convention. Some people use E. A lot of people use event. It doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. So with that event, we can get some information. And so let's click that, and you'll notice we get this big, huge, what this is called as an object. We'll talk about objects at another time. And it's got a lot of stuff on it. And so it's got all the information about where on the page it was clicked, whether you're holding the control key, a lot of information that you have the potential to hook up to. But what we want is the target, which is the actual what we clicked on. And then with that, we can grab the value off that here. And so the way we do that is we just do dot target dot value, and we can now grab the 1. But that doesn't work for all the buttons. And you might be thinking, why is that? Well, if you remember back, we used query selector when we actually were trying to go all buttons. So we'll actually want to do query selector all. Now you might think, oh, that's just easy, but query selector all, if you remember, returns an array. And so what we actually have to do is do a loop if we want to add an individual event listener to each button. So I is less than buttons.length, I plus plus, and then do buttons I, and then let's do this add event listener. Dot add event listener, click. And now all the buttons have everything. So there are simpler ways to add event listeners than that, but they're only simple when you've learned some complex ideas, like the idea of propagation and delegation. There are libraries that could make this easier for us. So this is probably the simplest way to do it with your knowledge. This is just an intro class. So again, to sum this up, we can listen to an event on a click, and if we want to get a value or something from the element we clicked on, we can use event. Dot target gives us the element that we clicked on, and dot value specifically gives us this value that has been attached. And so for your starter code on your calculator project, that might be pretty useful, considering that everything's got values on them. Now you might want to switch up how many event listeners you add depending on what type of button, because you've got numbers, you've got minus operators and plus operators. So you might not want to add event listeners to just all the buttons. You might want to add them to subsets of buttons to get this working. So that's it for this week. So hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck on your projects.